Hi, everybody, and welcome. Today, I am so excited because we have some fantastic speakers to kick off our fall 2021 webinar series for New Jersey City University for the Educational Technology Department. Today, our session is going to be about mindfulness in education during and post COVID-19. And our presenters are Filiz Zeybek and Deniz Ismailoff. So just to give a brief introduction, Filiz holds a bachelor's in elementary school teaching from, am I saying this right? Deniz University?
Yes.
Oh, very good. From Turkey, and she's a master's student in, or has her master's in special education from New Jersey City University. She started her life as an education as a substitute teacher and continued as a special education teacher in New Jersey schools. Since 2011, she has been teaching with love and compassion. She was honored as the 2017 Teacher of the Year during her 6th year of teaching. Currently, Filiz is working as a special education teacher in a public school and pursuing her doctoral degree here in educational technology leadership at New Jersey City University. Deniz holds a bachelor's in elementary school teaching from Montclair State University and a master's in school counseling from William Patterson University and a master's in education in educational leadership from Filiz University. She started her college career in education in 2007 in New Jersey and became a school administrator in 2014. Working in the education field for over 14 years, she recognizes the importance of mindfulness as it cultivates well-being, self-care, and attention skills that prepare all stakeholders to teach and learn with greater energy and mastery. Currently, Deniz is pursuing her doctoral degree in educational technology leadership here at New Jersey City University as well. So I'd like to turn the floor over to our fabulous presenters. And before we do, if you have any questions from any of the participants today, please feel free to write up in the chat, and there will be opportunities where we'll address them at different breaks throughout, and definitely also at the end, there'll be plenty of time for question and answers. Thanks so much, ladies. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dana. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for your participation. So today's agenda is we are going to talk about what is mindfulness and why is it important. And also we're going to talk about what is SEL, which is social emotional learning. Why does it belong in classrooms? Growth mindset and well-being, activities and resources. And also at the end, we're going to have your questions, and we will try our best to answer your questions. And also just housekeeping, you can chat is open for your thoughts, feedback, question, and contributions.
For our working norms, we just want you to be fully present. We know there's a lot going on during the day. We know in the background, you probably have your children, some noise, your dogs, your cats running around, but just be fully present because it is about mindfulness. So we want to be mindful of what we're learning, and just so we can incorporate it in our everyday lives. If you're not a teacher, if you're an administrator, you can use it in your daily life as well. So it's very important to just keep these mindfulness and SEL activities and resources in mind for yourself and for your children. If you have children of your own, you can also utilize it for them as well. And just be comfortable, be open, be honest, and just share your feelings, your thoughts, and your stories. And it's good to collaborate during this time as well. We first want to ask you these questions. Just take a look. We're going to give you a few minutes. There's 5 questions. You could read them to yourself and choose 2 out of 5 questions that you would like to answer, and just put it in the chat if you have the question so we can give you the answer for it.
So we start with this question because we just want to know that what do you know about mindfulness, SEL, or how you include those strategies in your classroom? So our goal is at the end of this presentation, you will be able to have more information about those topics.
Great. Got 2 questions. You want to do number 4?
Yes, number 4, it says, why is SEL needed?
Mhm.
And the question is, why do you think SEL is needed in classrooms? So, or you may say that, so do you think SEL is needed in classrooms? Yes or no? Or do you think like mindfulness and SEL, what they do for students?
Mhm.
We want to hear from your thoughts.
I think SEL is really important. I like when it's introduced into schools because I feel like there's a lot of things, especially in this past year, that many of us have gone through. So, teachers and students included, that we all need to just remind ourselves that it's okay to have that permission to take that time out and build the muscle to really just reconnect and learn how to deal. We need new strategies because now we have new stressors, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, I agree. And also during COVID-19, most of us, we had to stay home and we had to work from home. And I think that time, most of us feel that how mindfulness is really important.
And some people might not know what is that. What is mindfulness?
Yeah.
We know the word mindful is in mindfulness, but what does it actually mean? And what does social and emotional learning mean? And what does it mean to be incorporated? How do you incorporate these activities in your classroom or in your daily lives? So that's why we wanted to ask you this question to see what you know about it also.
Mhm.
Okay, so we want to start first off by a little emojis, and it's just going to ask you, how do you feel right now? If you look at the emojis 1 through 5, what would you say? You could write your answer in the chat and tell us why you feel that way.
And but first, we want you guys to know that it's okay to feel any numbers. It's okay. So our job here at the end of this presentation, you're gonna feel 1, and this is our goal. So how do you feel now? Let's see. 2 or 1.5.
I'll take both.
And 1 says 1. How do you feel, Deniz?
Today was a long day for me, I'm not gonna lie. So school administration, especially during this time, SEL is important. Why? Because there's a lot of behavior and coping and just a lot of issues that are going on in all schools. And I know because I speak to a lot of other teachers and administrators too, and we're all in the same boat. So today I feel like a 4. I was like, what? My eyebrows were like this today. So I was trying to take these things that I've learned on mindfulness and just, practice them myself. And I actually do practice them. I can't say daily, but a lot, like at least a few times a week. And it's very helpful. So hopefully by the end of the day, I'll be a 1. That's the goal.
That's our goal.
All right, so first we would like to talk about what is mindfulness. So mindfulness is just a reflection, and it's just being conscious of your feelings and your emotions without judging anybody around you or what's going on, because we don't know what the other person's feeling. We don't know what's going on in their lives. So we want to be mindful and keep in mind there could be anything going on. Why? Why is this child doing this? Just observing it from the outside world without putting your own judgment into it and putting your own thoughts into it, and just actually listening and being present to find out what it is. So that's being mindful for those around you and mindful for yourself when you're doing the things or saying the things that you're doing. Be present and fully aware of the things that you're saying. And that's hard on a daily basis, especially when you're aggravated or you're running late or something's happening or a child is acting up in class. And sometimes teachers say things that they don't mean, and then they're upset. So we really have to learn how to be mindful. And the video that we're going to show you just briefly talks about the importance of it and how you can incorporate it. And then we also have some activities that you can do on a daily basis for yourself as well.
And also not only not judging others, also we should just turn ourselves, and without judging our feelings and our thoughts, we should try to understand ourselves also, not only for others. This is also very important.
Yes, 100%. It's 5 minutes, so we're just going to watch a brief of it, okay?
What's the use? We just end up arguing and it stresses me out. I don't have the energy to talk to her right now. Oh my, I have to finish this paper, study for midterms, and create a presentation all by tomorrow afternoon. There's just too much to do and I can't focus. Ugh, everything is so stressful.
Mindfulness is the practice of acknowledging what you're feeling without judging the emotions or sensations as you're feeling them. Why practice mindfulness? Well, it helps to direct attention away from stress or other negative thoughts. It can also help support good mental health by giving you a simple way to manage negative thoughts and emotions. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, at any time, and produce a state of mindfulness meditation in many different ways.
I've been using mindfulness on my breaks at work and after long, stressful days. I just find a quiet space to do it. Sometimes it's an empty room or my parked car.
Simple things like guided breathing techniques while sitting in traffic, to more structured practices like body scanning or walking meditation can all promote relaxation and reduce stress. Here are some ways you can incorporate mindfulness into everyday activities. Pay attention. Focus on sights, smells, sounds, and textures in your environment. Acknowledge each sense before focusing on the next one. Live in the moment. Don't think of things in the past or worry about the future. Concentrate on what is happening here and now. Accept yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. Use gentle words for yourself, like you would use for your loved ones. Focus on your breathing. Intentionally breathe in and out in a slow, calculated way.
I found an app that helps me use mindfulness. I put on my headphones and just focus on the audio to let my mind and body fully relax.
Using these techniques may lead to some of the following mental health benefits. You might learn better ways to control your emotions and be able to handle stressful events more easily. It could even help to improve relationships with friends and family.
I'm just going to stop there for time purposes. And so this kind of answers the question that you asked, what is it and why it's important? It's important because it helps us live our daily lives in a positive manner, because there's a lot of stressors that come in our life. So even if you driving far distances, or whenever that you have the minute, just take that minute to yourself and just collect yourself, turn off the music and just breathe, take a deep breath, and just think about the importance of just being there and just being present with yourself. And that really truly does help. It helps you collect yourself. Like, I know I keep saying that, but it really does. So, and that's important to use in the classroom. So we're going to teach you some strategies, if you're a teacher, to use in the classroom for the students who don't know how to do that, or who don't know how to be self-aware, or don't know how to control their emotions or attitude because they've been stuck home for 2 years. They don't know what it means to collaborate. They don't know what it means to make a friend or have a conversation. What does that mean to them anymore? Especially students who are brand new to school. If they went to kindergarten and first grade at home and now they're in second grade, they don't know none of that stuff. So it's important to incorporate those. Are we going to be able to share the video to our presenters, to the people who are watching?
Absolutely. What you can do, you can actually put that in the chat for now. And then if you want to create like a list of resources, you can also put your information into maybe give your email address at the end, and people can contact you.
We'll definitely do that then. We'll do it at the end so
Sure.
everyone can have the links. But so on each slide, if we go into it, it's going to just waste too much time. But each slide has a lot of activities and for adults and children that I've actually used, and I had my teachers use in their classes, and they really found it to be beneficial. So if you have the time to just review those for yourselves. Okay.
Okay. So mindfulness in classroom. As we see in the video, we have being mindful all help us our life getting better in everything. It also helps us in classrooms for us as a teacher and also for our students. So it improves memories. This is according to research, improves memories, organizational skills, reading and math scores, all while giving kids the tools they need to handle stress. So mindfulness can mitigate the effects of bullying, enhance focus in children with ADHD, reduce attention problems, improve mental health and well-being, and improve social skills when well taught and practiced with children and adults. So as we see that, like there are just little practices. Maybe it will take your 5 minutes, but it is going to bring lots of benefit to our life, in our students' life, and as well as our classrooms. So, and also it's going to affect positively their behavior and also academic success. So I can see that how beneficial this having this mindfulness in our life and also bring to this our classrooms.
So there, like Louisa said, there's many aspects and parts to mindfulness and what it means. So the first one is being self-aware. And there's two types of aspects that we have to be aware of. And this is to also teach our students and our children to be socially, to be emotionally aware and culturally aware. Not all cultures are the same. Not all emotions are the same. So we really need to be aware of all our students' ethnicity background, all our students' emotions, the houses that they're coming from, the families that they're coming from, what's going on. It plays a big important role. And especially when we're coming back from the pandemic, since we don't know what kind of homes they were living in, we don't know what they're eating. So they're coming from all these things. So we need to be cultural and emotionally aware of the students. So the first one is being self-aware and teaching the students how to be self-aware. How do we do that? So there are some cute little ways you can do that. If you're an elementary teacher, if you're an older teacher, there's still cute ways, but for older ones, you could do meme check-ins like the one we just did, just to see how they're doing, a quick check-in. There's emoji ones, meme ones, there's weather reports. Today I'm feeling a sunshine, and they could tell why. So there's also talking about weather, so you can incorporate that into science. So now you're integrating different types of subjects into it too. So just being able to just incorporate it, even if it's for 5 seconds in your daily routines, helps students learn how to express their emotions and express themselves, which is a part of being self-aware. So now that you know that they're self-aware of themselves.
And I want to add this to my experience with my classroom. I am a first grade teacher. Every morning we start with a morning meeting, and one of our morning meeting part is asking them how do they feel that day, like expressing 1 to 5. And also if they feel 5, which is like they feel great, we're asking them why do you feel 5. So, and they express their feeling, and that moment, like the rule is everybody is listening to that person. So, and imagine like first grader and everybody listening to their feelings and how important they feel. So that gives them like that power, that self-awareness, and also express themselves. So it will take only maybe 5 minutes in our classroom, and but we know that how powerful it is, because at the end of this meeting, we one thing we tell them, it's okay to feel 1 or 5, but our goal here as a team, make sure that you're gonna feel good today and you're gonna leave feeling good today. So that's why you're here, and that's why you're important. So like these little kids, and they love this part. Sometimes we are rushing and we may not have time to feel like sharing feelings, and they just say, oh, are we gonna share our feelings? They're so excited about that, and we have been doing this about 4 years, and we see like we see lots of benefit from this 5 minutes activity.
The next one is self-management. How are we going to manage our daily stressors? How are we going to manage the things that are going in our mind that we don't know that's going on in the other students' minds? They may be smiling on the outside, but we don't know that on the inside, right? So we don't know what's going on. So these are some things that you can teach your students about self-management skills. And when you incorporate these, it helps with monitoring, evaluating, motivating, and initiating their own awareness and management. So it's combining them together. And some ways that we can do that is different types of breathings. They're called belly breathing, there's dragon breathing, there's a whole bunch of different types of breathings, and there's a link in that we're going to share with you guys at the end. that has the different ways and how you can do it with some videos. We also created a website on SEL, which has a lot of different activities and breathing cycling activities and different types of activities, I guess you can say, that can help parents, students, teachers, anyone. And different type of stations that you can incorporate. So you could even have like ELA stations and incorporate SEL activities in those stations along with those. So we're also going to talk about those different type of stations in there as well. And they can be in different, you could even differentiate them depending on the students as well. You want to talk about this one? Social awareness?
So students with social awareness skill can determine how others feel and predict and evaluate others' feeling and their reaction, and actively listen to others, and also show empathy, compassion, and concern for the feelings of others. So we have some activities, and this shows like kids' emotions, and also we have better kids activities. Are we able to click them and see the activities?
They can scan it. If you have a phone, you could scan the QR code. So as a teacher, this is basically an activity that you can use in your classroom. If a student isn't very verbal with you or doesn't know how to express their emotions, being socially aware, right, of their surroundings and things about them, that these activities help a lot, because there's like little air bubbles and they look at the child and they can say what that child's feeling. And if what they write doesn't match that actual picture, you know that they're not socially aware of what's going on. So then you can incorporate those into your daily activities as well. You can do any type of activities, and there's books that you can read, a lot of read alouds that speak about and mindfulness and SEL and social awareness and self-management that we don't even know that has it in there. So that link in there would have a bunch of books that you guys can utilize as well. And the importance of having social awareness is knowing that there's diversity, but even though there's diversity, we could still be equal and inclusive in the class. We're incorporating those activities. So that's another important thing for being mindful in the classroom.
This is very powerful.
The next one is relationship skills. So if you're looking at it, it's a pattern, right? Know yourself, know what's around you. Now we're going to learn how to collaborate. So it's taking it by steps and learning how to build those relationship skills that they never had before, or they don't know how to do or have. And it shows them how to be a leader, but not just any leader, because right now what it seems like to me is students are feeding off each other by misbehaving, and they think it's cool. And then now, instead of being a positive leader, that leadership is turning into a negative leadership. So now how can we build better relationships? And these are some things that counselors do when they're doing their workshop with the students. But now it's important to start incorporating them into the classrooms, which we should have been doing anyway. But now it's more of a bright sign that's showing why it's so important. It allows students to show empathy. A lot of students don't know what empathy is and how to show empathy. Another student can be crying and they'll look at them like, why are you crying? What's your problem? But if they had empathy and relationship skills, they'll know and be able to speak to that child. And conflict resolution. So some things that you can do is have certain greetings. I know a lot of you may have seen them on the news, where they have different hand signals, different ways to communicate with each other if they can't speak verbally, meaning being able to communicate with you because they don't know how to share feelings well. You can have some type of hand movement, like this means I'm not feeling well today, or this means I want to talk to you later, some type of movements, and having questions of the day to use in your daily routine. So it can be like a do now. It could be a part of your exit ticket, or anything in the classroom that you can use as a question of the day, and letting them know what they mean. Let them know what self-awareness means. Talk about those important concepts, because regardless of what age a child is, the more you use those words, the more you talk about it, they're going to start incorporating it into their own vocabulary, just like we do daily. They're sponges. So that sponge collects all this information, and they're going to start verbalizing it. They're not going to just show it, they're going to say it. And then they're going to be the leaders and of the empathy and all that we talked about. So it's just practice and daily routine. The more you do it, the more they're going to be able to understand it. So not just one day a week, try to do it daily. And we're going to some more activities that you guys can look at in your free time later too. And then responsible decision making.
So responsible decision making, this is also very important for kids. So students with a responsible decision making skill can identify problems and develop appropriate solutions, use strategies to resist peer pressure, reflect upon and evaluate how their choice affect other people, and stand up for others. So this is also, as Deniz mentioned before, this is not only on just one day teaching. So it will take practice every day. We can bring this to our classroom, and we can have even like we can create some conflicts stories, and we can ask students how you can solve this problem. What was your solution to this? So they can come up together and they can find solution, and they can share those solutions, and then we can talk about that. So, and we can find what can be the better solution for each student's point of view can be different. So we can bring those activities in our classroom, and during, for example, during writing, and we can give the story, and we can ask them to write, and what is the responsible making decision making for this case. They can come up with solution and write. So I think there are so many ways to incorporate those mindfulness activities in our teaching, even like math, science, reading, writing. I think we can find more resources with those activities.
And autonomy is really important. So allowing choice. If you're a teacher in elementary, you can do choice boards that have fun activities that they can explain themselves with. If you have apps, if you're a high-tech school, you can do apps, you can do Chromebook activities. They have a lot of platforms that a lot of schools use to have videos and questioning. So it just depends on your students and your students' needs. You could always differentiate it and then do choice boards too, if that's what they like to do. So it just depends on where you are and how your students learn. And it's important because it follows the 5 competencies of social emotional learning, which is CASEL. And basically it's a program where it says that all these components put together will form positivity and a positive classroom environment where students feel welcomed and being able to speak and free of emotions and to just collaborate and talk. So that's why it's really important to know all those pieces, because when you take one and you put them all together, it's going to combine into something that's beautiful. And that's what we want. We want the children to be happy and feel safe in where they are and be able to be open. And that's why it's really important to just use these. So we were talking a lot about social emotional learning, and how you can incorporate it into the classroom, and why it's important, right? Why is it important and how you can use it? So this is a really good video actually that we've seen a lot of ones, but this one just talks about the importance of it and how you can use it into the classroom, like we said, along with some activities that you can do later.
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills, and it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults.
When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
Okay. Sorry. Malfunction. Okay. So that ties into going into the Pygmalion effect. And I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of it. Has anybody ever heard of the Pygmalion effect? Yes? Okay. So the Pygmalion effect is really important because it basically says the way you treat others, the way you treat others is the way they're going to be, or the way they're going to try to be for you. And that ties really important to the SEL and the mindfulness is because making them feel important, making them feel special has their academics grow because they're going to try to learn. They're going to try to do, their best for you and for themselves. So the Pygmalion effect is important because your beliefs and your actions and the way you treat others tells a lot about who they are and how they're going to be. And it's going to be a continuous circle, like kind of like a leadership. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Believe in yourself and all can you achieve. This is why we have all these important mottos that we say every single day. And I use them all the time. If you could be anything in this world, choose kindness, right? Why do we say those things? Because it's an effect. And the more you say it and the more you do it, the more the children are going to do it as well. And I think there was a quick little video on that too. I know there's a lot of videos, but it does, it's really short, tells you a little bit about the Pygmalion effect more in detail. If you didn't know.
Hey there, TikTokers. We want to ask you a question. Did the opinions of others affect you? Think about it while we share with you a curious phenomenon known as the Pygmalion effect. Have you heard of it? In a nutshell, the Pygmalion effect is when person A's opinion about person B can influence person B's behavior. Here's a practical example. John is a teacher in a classroom with 25 students, and from all of them, he believes the most intelligent and capable student is Peter. Although he tries to not show that opinion consciously, he frequently encourages Peter with motivational comments or studying advice. And thus, Peter becomes aware of his potential and ends up getting better results than if he didn't. In this example, we can find two important factors. On one hand, that human beings always try to fulfill their own expectations. That's why the teacher ends up helping the student he believes has an advantage without realizing it. And on the other hand, we have the self-esteem factor. Peter realizes his worth thanks to the teacher's words, and thus his own self-love increases. And when he obtains that self-confidence, his results improve. The Pygmalion effect was demonstrated in a study by Robert Rosenthal, Harvard professor, and Lenore Jacobson, principal of an elementary school in San Francisco. Thanks to an experiment carried out in a class, they demonstrated that the higher the expectations, the better the results. But do you know where the name of this effect comes from? It's inspired by the Greek myth of Pygmalion, a sculptor who fell in love with a statue he sculpted himself. He thought none of the women he ever met were good enough for him, and thus he built himself the perfect woman. And his feelings for his creation were so intense that he begged the gods to turn her into a real life woman. Finally, the goddess Aphrodite fulfilled his wish, and the man ended up marrying his creation. As we've mentioned so far, the Pygmalion effect can be positive, but it can also be negative. On one hand, if instead of focusing on the good of a person, we focus on the bad, we can affect their self esteem and drive them to failure. On the other hand, if we don't know how to channel nor transmit appropriately those expectations, then the other person might end up wanting to become precisely the opposite. An example is when a mother once wanted to become a doctor and gets obsessed with her son becoming one so she can repair her own frustration. This also proves that we can all help each other become successful in whatever we set out to do, TikTokers. So let's do that by sharing a few words of encouragement with others every now and then. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel.
Okay.
This holiday season, you can get them the usual, or you can get them.
I don't know why it's not, I can't see what it's doing. There we go.
So, as a closure, so this presentation was about mindfulness and SEL. So, mindfulness is teaches students how to recognize and accept their present thoughts and emotions. And SEL teaches students emotional life skill based on 5 core competencies. These include self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making.
Can you check the chat? I see a few chats up there before you move on.
It says routine is a key building these skills. It's very important. Yes, routine comes very important for building those skills.
And mindfulness begins with you. So if you're not mindful of yourself and your surroundings and following those 5 core competencies, then we can't teach the others around us. So we have to first implement it within ourselves and take that moment for ourselves before we start implementing it with everybody else. And it starts with you. This is the website that we want to explain to you about, which then you can contact us as well.
First, we have a question, Deniz.
Mhm.
It says, how have you implemented this in your professional roles on the administrative and educator levels?
Yes, so we do a lot of different activities in my school. We started incorporating weekly newsletters for every. So in our school we have middle. I'm kind of it's like a cohort too. It's like a charter school. So we have the elementary, the middle, and the high school. And I'm a part of the SEL committee where we come up with the newsletters monthly for each separate grade levels. And in those that have activities where the teachers incorporate it into their daily routines, they can do that during either their enrichment time or in their morning time, whenever it's best fits them. And we also incorporate different activities where we said choice boards, and they can choose the activities based on their classrooms. And a lot of the schools use that during their character education class. And if they don't have character education, they try to do it during the morning meetings. We also do daily affirmations in the morning. And we also do something called Possum Panthers, because we're Panthers. And we try to incorporate the daily core 5 of being self-aware, respect, showing each other kindness and empathy. And every time they show that, they receive a ticket. And that ticket they put in their grade level bin. And then every Friday we choose a ticket, and the student wins and gets their picture taken, gets a little medal. And we talk about why what they did that was so important to raise those awareness for the students. So then now they're starting to try to be nicer to each other as a motivation and incentive. So incentives is really important. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're going to have an incentive, someone's going to work towards it to try to get it. So then they start using it without even noticing that they're doing it when they go home, because they're doing it so much now. So, I mean, it could be, you could use any type of incentives for your students and use it into the classroom also.
As an educator, as I mentioned before, we implement SEL in our morning meetings. And our goal is help students express their feelings and help students feel respected. And our other goal is other like help other students to feel other and understand and keep empathy. So it is really working. As I mentioned, like we have been using this strategy about 4 years. It is part of our curriculum in our school, and it's our school really like try their best to implement SEL in the lessons. And also we have high fives. These all teachers and everybody in school, if they see something really positive that students do, and we have notes and we are filling it up. And every morning our principal announced that students with what kind of what activities they did or what character trait that shows, and they are receiving some reward. And this is also very important. As we mentioned, our job is trying to give them like routine, help them to make all this good decision as a routine. Like when they receive those kind of reward, and when they hear their names and they feel good and they start doing those kindness, responsible action, and the caring others as a routine, it becomes their character traits, which is I feel it works. And also I'm a member of our school's SEL team. As a SEL team, our job is helping teachers to find different activities that they can implement mindfulness and SEL in their classroom, in their lesson. And we have one chat. It's one message. It says, have you seen when students are awarded with an incentive that it helps to influence a student that has a history of not being able to articulate their feelings rarely and has helped to improve or modify their behavior? Yes, exactly. So when they hear others announce and they get rewards and they say, oh, I can do that too. And also, like sometimes when students see those notes in their mailbox and they say, oh, what's this? And we say, because you did a great job today and some of your teachers catch you, so you were doing awesome. And like his eyes and his like behavior is changed. Next day he's coming like more self-aware and like happy and try to do his best. Yes, definitely we see those behaviors improve when they do their best.
And another thing you could implement, if you don't have time because of the curriculum and because so much is going on, you could incorporate the activities during recess time, because it's mandatory to have recess time. So you have that time. You can do yoga. You could do mindfulness breathing. You could do the activities I was saying, like the dragon breathing. So instead of the kids, just playing around doing nothing, they could do something that's useful and beneficial for them. And they can choose which one they want to do. So when they come in there, they can say, today I want to do this, let's do this. Or they could choose and work in their groups and do the different kinds of ones. And like, it just all depends on how you want to make it flow. So those are some different activities that you can use into your classroom. This is the picture that we had from the our original slides from the front is actually from our website. So we're going to also give you the slides. I'm sorry, the link for the website, and it has everything for educators. So when you click on it, it gives you all different types of activities and things, ways you can deal with it for educators. And then the students can also click on it for themselves if it's a high school, or they could do it with their parents, with different ways they can set their goals and hybrid learning and how to do effective learning spaces in the classroom as well. Parents can also log into it, and it could help beneficial for themselves. Gives a lot of different examples, of social emotional learning, which was one of the videos that we used for you already, which I wasn't trying to get to that, but and then a little bit more about us. And if you want to contact us, or you have any questions, or maybe you want more different activities or differentiation examples, that we can just shoot us an email, and then we'll get, through here, drop a line, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can and try to provide you the answers. And if you want to go into any of the resources or things that we provided, there are a lot of links and resources here that you can also go into as well. And then we will provide Dana with that information with all the different links as well.
Ladies, not to interrupt, do you mind if I put your emails in the chat in case anybody?
Of course, please do.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue.
No, that's it. I mean, that was the end of the presentation, really. So if if there's any other questions or anything that you would like to share before the end, Be great.
or any idea that you're implementing mindfulness and still in your life or in your teaching. So would you like to share some of those strategies with us?
Is it okay for me to talk live or just ask
Oh
questions
yeah, go
via
ahead.
chat?
Of
Okay.
course, that'd be great.
Okay, great. So the references, the resources, is that a whole list, or do you have it separated by reading material versus like
We're gonna actually put
resources?
we're gonna actually put it all together for Dana. Is there a way that you can share that with everyone? You said yes, right? Okay, so we'll put it together for you with all the resources, the activities and everything one, and so she could send it directly to you guys.
If you'd like, also, you shared your slide deck with me, so anyone who requests it, I can also put that information. But if you want to put the link in the chat also, that's a great way to go.
Okay, you want to?
Let me rephrase the question. So you have all these references and resources. Is there a distinction between what is purely resources and what are tools? Or like, in other words, if I want to go in and say, how do I learn about mindful breathing techniques? Is it sectioned off, or is there some sort of demarcation?
Yes,
do I
there
go
is.
through
So
it?
if you click on,
Students, for example.
okay. give me
And
one.
it is like coping with stress. You can click that one.
Perfect.
And it says it gives little information about what is, and here it's a breathe deeply, and it's showing like different strategies. There are links, and also at the end there are different videos.
But I think it was really great, and I'm really grateful for all that you guys have shown us. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the feedback. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much.
All right, I think that's about what we have. So I guess we'll start to wrap up.
Mhm.
Anything else you guys wanted to add to close out?
No, we just wanted to hear the feedback and just anything that he really thought was beneficial for him. So we got it. Thank you.
Awesome. I know there are some places that also like to do, like you mentioned, yoga. And I read of districts in different parts of the country trying to put yoga into detention and kind of repurpose the idea of detention is definitely something that we need to do for discipline, but it doesn't have to be a miserable experience. Maybe it's a way of reconnecting with why we're here. I thought that was a really interesting way of kind of putting a spin on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. This was wonderful. This is the first of 7 more to come. We have a great lineup with some fantastic speakers. And I wanted to have special thanks to you guys for taking your evening to join us, but also for your expertise tonight on social and emotional learning in education. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
Have
We
a
hope you
great
have a wonderful evening. Be
Have a good
safe
day.
and
Be
well.
well. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
you.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.